It's you, the highly talented and attractive Leo, just in time for your Leo July 2021 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel Saint James, for those of you who are just stopping by for the first time, and for the subscribers, my love and affection to you, as always. You know, I send you a lot of good energy during the month. I do appreciate you stopping by, taking the time out of your busy schedule, and look, I know you enjoy the readings because so many of you have told them, and I'm very flattered by that and humbled. But look, I just enjoy doing this, and I enjoy doing it for you, Leo, because Leo is very dear to my heart for reasons that I shall go into at another time. Now, look, what we're going to do is draw 5 cards, because 5 is all we need. I think you and I have found that each of the cards is jam-packed, full of information, isn't it, when we do our reading? So let's have a look and see what we have to have this month. There is the 9 of Swords. Here is the Ace of Discs. Here is the Angel. What an interesting card that is, the Angel. We'll see what that has to say. Well, Love. Fantastic. Gee, getting all the good cards here. And what's this final one here? The 6 of Swords. Fantastic. Well, my dear friend, why don't you come and sit down next to me? We'll have a good close look at these cards together while I do the reading for you. Now, can you see these? A very interesting set of cards for you this month. I'm going to deal first with this 9 of Swords. By the way, if you do want to have a one-on-one personal reading, clairvoyant, with me, just check out the information that's in the description box below. But have a look at the website anyway, because I think you'll find a lot of information there which you might find interesting. Let's have a look at the 9 of Swords here. Let's have a look at you. What do you have to say? This is coming to be funnily enough, I think, of some comfort to you, even though very often it's a difficult card, but I don't think it is so in this situation. Not with all this other good energy around you. Now here a woman is, well, suspended in the tree, and a bunch of swords sticking around in what looks like quite a barren environment. But the thing that strikes me most about the art on here, and what I'm getting reference to, is this moon here. The moon with its face there. Now, the interesting thing about the moon is that I think it is very mysterious, and I think the moon can be highly dangerous. Now, there is some confusion as to its gender. In the East, Vedic or Hindu astrology, it's referred to as masculine. But I call it feminine because it represents the female generative principle. The moon relies upon the spiritual energy coming from the sun. But the moon always withdraws its light. And what it does is it can affect the psyche. It can affect your psyche. The moon is pure consciousness. It projects the spiritual radiance of the sun to earth, or it can also withhold it. Now, the astrology of this card here in this position is Mars ruling the 2nd decan of Gemini, that 1st to the 11th of June. The one-pointed nature of Mars does not sit well with the scattered energy of Gemini. And Mars in Gemini natives can get fired up and use words as their weapon and can be quite cruel. So I think what this is talking about here is that the energy here generally means a cruelty directed at yourself. It indicates a tendency to put yourself down with immense energy, which is Mars, destructive accusations made by parents or teachers in your childhood or other people with whom you've had relationships, they continue with undiminished harshness to affect you. But now, you yourself have taken over the role of accuser, if you like. You use words in your mind against yourself. Now, this may happen in the form of an internal debate between two people or points of view. You are afraid to make a definite choice, then denigrate yourself, your indecisiveness. Or you make a choice and then torture yourself with a bad conscience because in your mind you think you chose wrong. You are the person who understands how to hurt yourself more than anybody else. You are the one who knows where your real Achilles heel is. Now, do you know where the background of the phrase Achilles heel comes from? Achilles was the great, in mythology, warrior, and his mother took him into the underworld and picked him up by the heel and dipped him into the river flowing in the underworld, the river Styx. And the immersion into that river then made him impregnable to attack, to injury from anybody else. Except the only part that wasn't covered by the water was the heel with which his mother held him while dipping him into the river. And it is the point where injury can occur. And that is the Achilles heel. Now, this card points out your tendency to put yourself down cruelly. You will have to recognize and fully see this behavior pattern before you'll be able to overcome it. Who judged you earlier? And how do you now condemn yourself? Are you ready now to forgive your parents, others, and yourself? You know, when bad things happen, we place an anchor. It's as if we are a boat on the sea, and we drop an anchor when a bad thing happens. And then as the boat moves forward, it gets to the point where it can't move any further because the line is stretched taut because it's held by the anchor. So you need to cut that anchor rope and allow yourself to move on. When you forgive, it is you who is released. It is not those that are forgiven, but you from whom the burden is lifted. Say to yourself, I am loved simply because I am the way I am. You know, despite what you may believe, you can disappoint people and still be good enough. Sometimes these feelings that we turn over and over in our head relate to guilt as well as to events that have harmed us in the past. Guilt is a harm to ourselves. You can make mistakes and still be capable and talented. You can let people down and still be worthwhile and deserving of love. Everybody has disappointed someone they care about. Everybody messes up, lets people down, makes mistakes, not because you're inadequate or fundamentally inept, but because you and all of us are imperfect and fundamentally human, and expecting anything different is setting yourself up for failure because nobody is perfect. So let those words of self-harm, those unproductive thoughts be banished from you because you are not injured. You are not defective. Now, as if to reinforce that, here we have now, by the way, you have love, you have great intellectual insight here, and you have new things happening. But first I want to look at this Ace of Discs, because it reinforces what I've just said, I think. Now, let me have a look at it here. Well, here there is really a young woman sitting in the middle of opulence, of things that are going around her. This is the root of the powers of the earth, and the people important to you around this time are likely to be Taurus, Gemini, and Aries, I think. This is speaking of inner and outer richness, great success, the unification of body and soul, material and spirit, heaven and earth. Wholeness is what's coming out here. There's a new consciousness coming here for you, bringing with it an attitude of continual development, symbolized by the opulent surroundings of this new woman. There's the beginning of something genuinely tangible happening here. There's the seeds here being sown for prosperity and growth, material abundance. I think your finances are going to improve. There may well be a promotion or a pay rise. Good luck and unexpected financial boost coming your way. Now, these aces in Tarot relate to new beginnings. And what we have here is that in the suit of discs, it relates to your lifestyle, your standard of living, work projects or new business. That's here. Now, there are some teachers that tell us that we can be both inwardly and outwardly rich, that it is not necessary to choose between the two, and I agree with that. The inner life is not against the outer. It is important to understand what inner and outer richness really means. Many people will tell you about this, for if a student is ever to become wholly conscious, you must understand that outward trappings of poverty do not mean that you are inwardly more aware. The concept and poverty only means that you are not clinging to money to obtain it. Poverty means that you do not own anything, including your memories. However, you can use anything you wish. Once you realize this, you can continue to grow on an inner level and an outer level, and you can attain the highest consciousness possible. This Ace of Discs mirrors your readiness to live a life that is inwardly and outwardly rich. All that is needed is already at hand. Give yourself up to the fullness of life and learn to use your wings. What areas of your life would you like to make richer? Work intensively on discovering and developing your potential, your inner wealth. Remain open for every form of enrichment in your life. And say this to yourself at this time, that wealth is my natural condition. It allows me to express my spirituality and creative potential in this world. I am in harmony with the flow of nature. You see, you must understand that there is nothing you cannot be, there is nothing you cannot do, there is nothing you cannot have. You are the most magnificent, the most remarkable, the most splendid being God has ever created. For who could reject such wondrous magnificence? But you do not know who you are, and you think that you are a great deal less. You are your own rule maker, and you are the only one who can assess how you are doing. All you see in the world is your idea about it. Life will take off for you when you choose for it to. An idea becomes a thought becomes a word. Say it out loud, words have power, and they echo all throughout eternity. A word becomes an action. And if you're going to start, then do it. Go all the way. Do it, do it, do it. Seize the opportunities in front of you now. Rejoice in them, and let no power on earth take them from you. I might have a look now at this angel card that's in the middle here. Gee, Angel, now this has got no colour on it here, so that would be the Fool, I suppose. Now, I imagine that this is a representation of the Fool, and that this painting here is an exploration of the idea of the resurrection, what it is to rebuild the past, and what value is there in it. Resurrection relates to the absolution of past suffering and rebirth into a new phase of life, a rite of passage. Now, esoterically, I refer to this energy as the spirit of the primal fire. This is talking about a decision which is coming up for you to make, which is going to have a major impact on your life, such as a lifestyle or career. And these changes that come about, this decision, it's going to be positive. You could well have a life-changing experience in a spiritual moment. It's time to move on after seeing the bigger picture, as this card was telling you to do, that you are loved from several directions. It's time also to have a natural period of growth and shedding of things and people which no longer serve you. I think you'll be highly discriminating and discerning and open to criticism. You won't react about it. And this time, though, you're going to move from harassing yourself to having a critical, healthy self-analysis of your strengths and weaknesses and where you need to improve without judgment, without regret, without recrimination, but in a way of making you better, of improving your life. Now you are being challenged to drop your worm's eye view to see things from a higher plane. And when you have recognized greater time spans and other contexts, which you are increasingly ready to do, by the way, you will then tend more and more to observe things in their beingness, to see free from evaluations. Do you understand what I'm saying? Meditate on the following statement. One sign of ignorance is indicated by some belief in injustice and unhappiness. Now, which methods will you use to gain deeper insight and greater wisdom? Say to yourself, I observe people and situations objectively and fairly. I value the combination of my qualities and characteristics. I honor the unlimited well of creativity within me to express in family and career settings. God is the unknown, the mysterious. The more I know that I don't know, the closer I am to the divine. Now let's have a look at the Lord of Earned Success. Now you are truly blessed here. This is the Six of Swords, and with this number 6, I have a mystical association with the sun. I also have a mystical association with Christ consciousness, with Krishna consciousness, and with the consciousness of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he received the Quran from the Archangel Gabriel. Now, the astrology here is Mercury ruling the second decan of Aquarius, the 30th of January to the 9th of February. Well, the Aquarius is an air planet, and the is an air sign. And Mercury is an air planet. So the air planet of Mercury finds itself in the fixed sign of air, which is Aquarius. Now, Mercury happens to be exalted in Aquarius, which highlights the intellectual qualities of this card. Mercury is really about the mind. It's about the intellect and about working through things. Aquarius is an air sign which is detached and intellectual by nature. And Mercury's ability to analyze brings a clear perspective going forward. So the astrology of the card, to me, suggests a somewhat detached but balanced assessment of a situation is needed. You need to analyze something without bias and without too much emotion being placed into the equation. Aquarius is also the sign of innovation and originality, so the card can also represent communicating, that's Mercury, ideas that are new or even unconventional in a very persuasive way. You'll have the ability to analyze and unify ideas and get an all-encompassing vision and objectivity. Now, Mercury is one of the greatest gifts for Aquarius. Mercury's ability to analyze brings clarity to perspectives on the future. The perceptions are not only seen and recognized, but can be effectively communicated now. The most varied ideas and visions meet at one central point. This allows for a new, all-encompassing vision of things which bring the rose of realization into bloom. I think also that, let's have a look at it again, shall we? A little bit closer. I think that this is bringing you intellectual clarity through learning from difficult experiences. And you have grown through some tough times, haven't you? And now you're starting to have a handle on life and can make intelligent decisions that will benefit your life. There's a greater level of awareness to your thinking and actions. Now, this can mean that a situation that you haven't really been able to come to grips with is also now getting better. You're now thinking out a better approach in dealing with the situation. You possess the ability to perceive on different levels now, which is a great thing, and also from different perspectives, and your understanding of things unites many different aspects. Where are and what are the ruts in your life? Trust your insight. Communicate in a way others will understand, and allow the rose to unfold. And say this to yourself: the rose of recognition blossoms in my heart. Let's finally see this card here, which is the card of love. Very interesting, very interesting. Well, in love we see twin angels here whose torsos grow out of one another. They gaze at each other, holding a chain with the letters Atlas. One down here holds the letter T in its hand. Love is the atlas of power and of the consciousness of the self. In other words, love is empathy, the ability to think and feel along with an individual that isn't yourself. The angels grow out of one another, share the same feeling body, but they have different minds. Differentiation is a core aspect of empathy, and it is a force many mystical traditions insist was the impetus for creation of the world. God wanted something to love. Freedom and intimacy, the perpetual motion that keeps the planets moving and the atoms from exploding, the most beautiful thing in the whole world. This tree of life here with its mandala-shaped flowers, the shape of the universe, grows in the background. Now, the astrology of this card is that of Venus in the first decan of Cancer, the 21st of June to the 1st of July. This exemplifies, Venus in Cancer exemplifies the benefit of you having drawn this card, because Venus is the most receptive of planets, and it is the planet of love, beauty, and creativity, and Cancer, the most receptive of signs about nurturing, comfort, support, and healing. Now remember, if you love yourself, you are attractive to others. Your receptiveness towards yourself prepares you to give yourself totally to somebody else. The union occurs in complete harmony, as is symbolized by these two here. This speaks of close bonds, togetherness, love, harmony, relationship, a relationship that is strengthening, mutual love and respect. And it may well be that you hear of marriage on the horizon here. Say this to yourself: there is nothing to do but enjoy what life offers. I am now ready to let into my life the love relationships which will fulfill me. Because you'll be able to access universal love. That's the way it is for you this month. Gee, I'm a bit exhausted after that. I don't know how you feel. That was great. I really, it's kind of draining though, isn't it, this business? I really enjoyed doing that for you, and I'm glad that you were able to participate along with me. It's been great to do it with you, and I'm looking forward to more in the future. But until that time, remember this, and remember one thing only, and it is that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.